Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Jason, co-founder, lead poster at Qantas Insights. We got some breaking news here. An update on some breaking news it just released this morning. Senator Shaheen out of New Hampshire, Democrat incumbent senator, said she will not seek re-election for the 2026 election. This obviously is going to shake up the Senate map more so than it already is. We'll talk about a little bit just a little bit later, but it definitely has major implications on the map for control of the Senate. So what happens next? We're going to break it down. So in a video statement earlier, she just said, hey, after careful consideration, I made the difficult decision not to seek re-election. She goes for the Senate 2026, and she said, it's time. Well, and rightfully so, the lady is 78 years old. She leaves behind a seat that has been reliably Democratic. But for now, it's definitely up for grabs, and we're going to talk about who the players might be in that. But this is a big blow for the Democrats. This isn't just some small wrinkle, in the greater scheme of things. This is a big blow. This is going to hurt the Democrats from an already precarious situation when it comes to the Senate map. So as we were saying, Democrats are already facing a tough Senate map for 2026. They're defending 23 seats, including battlegrounds like Michigan and Georgia, and while Republicans are only defending 11, now the Democrats have to fight for New Hampshire as well. So the map has just expanded. The Democrats have to defend more of these seats in an environment that may not be too well for them, at least when it comes to the Senate. So let's take a quick look here. So right now, the Senate is made up of 53 Republicans and 47 Democrats, 45 Democrats technically, but two independents that caucus with the Democrats. So it's 53-47. If we look at Cook's political report here, they had New Hampshire lean D and Minnesota lean D, and then the true toss-ups was Georgia and Michigan, and you'll see how they have it here with the Republicans. But so we do have about 5 seats that looks like it's going to be competitive, and it's what the Senate control will come down to. I made a video a couple of weeks ago regarding the Senate map, and just how much of it a disadvantage the Democrats are in this, at least for this election cycle for 2026. We're only tracking about 5 competitive seats. New Hampshire, we included it, but we didn't really believe it was all, might not be all that competitive depending on who entered. But now that Shaheen is out, this is definitely going to be a game changer. More on Shaheen. So she won her last election comfortably, like around 15 points in her last election, but that was in 2020. But without an incumbent, this race becomes much more competitive. And that brings us to the big question: who steps up to run? Well, enter Chris Sununu. So he's the former Republican governor of New Hampshire, a name that's already making waves in the Senate speculation, and it has been for some time. Just last week, a poll showed Sununu leading Shaheen by 8 points, and that's further fueling speculation that he might run. Now with Shaheen out, Sununu is the clear GOP favorite if he jumps in. He served four terms as governor. He stepped down in 2024. He's got high name recognition. Has strong approval ratings, and he has a history of winning statewide elections in that state of New Hampshire. If he runs, Republicans could flip this seat. It may even lean Republican now if he enters this race. It would probably be a lean Republican. I'd give it lean Republican as we see more polls come out. But it looks like it's his race to lose if he chooses to jump in here. Now, this is already sitting at a 53-47 map. But let's just look quickly here at some of his gubernatorial elections. So in 2016 he wins 48-46. In 2018 he wins 52-45. In 2020 he wins 65-33. And then 2022, 56-41. So he's been a juggernaut in that statewide elections. He's well liked, I guess, well respected among the voters there. And adding him to this mix, if Sununu wins, the GOP majority could increase to 54 seats, making it even harder for Democrats to take back control of the Senate. So they have a lot of ammo here, and we're going to take a quick look. So if it's 53-47 right now, and we talked about it in our last video, if the Democrats, for just a sec, let's just put this as a scenario. We're going to show you some of the precarious situations here that Democrats find themselves in. So let's just say the Democrats have a wonderful night on election night, and they flip all 5 of these battleground states. So we got Georgia, North Carolina, Michigan, New Hampshire, and Maine. That's five. That would be 5 seats that they would flip. That would put them at 49 to 51. They would still lose, or they still would come out of election night the minority party. They would not capture the majority. They'd have to flip additional 2 seats or win 4. Right. So the odds of this happening are not good to win even more additional seats outside of what is considered competitive. But if we do the flip side of that, let's say the Democrats have or let's say the Republicans have a great night and they end up flipping Georgia and keeping North Carolina and keeping Maine and flipping New Hampshire, and let's just say they lose Michigan. Let's say they lose it by a nail biter. That is 2 additional seats. That'd be Georgia and New Hampshire. They're already at 53-47 based off 2024 results. That would put them at 55-45. They would have a 55-seat majority in the Senate after election night 2026 under this scenario. If they run the table and they were to flip Michigan as well, that puts them at 56 seat majority in the Senate. Could it happen? Yeah. I mean, it could. We don't know, but I think it's safe to say the Republicans will come out of this keeping their majority. Let's say they break even and they come out with 53 seats, or they have a good night and they pick up 2 additional seats. They pick up New Hampshire, they pick up Georgia, or they pick up Michigan and New Hampshire. It puts them at 55 seats. But their ceiling here seems to be 56 seats, relegating the Democrats to a 44-seat minority hold. That would be devastating for the Democrats on election night. But it's just one of those cycles where it just does not favor the Democrats, no matter how you look at it. With Shaheen running or withdrawing or deciding not to run for re-election, this just makes things even harder for the Democrats to overcome. So for Democrats, the big challenge now is who replaces Shaheen on the ballot. Without this incumbency advantage, they'll need a strong candidate to keep this seat in their column. We have a couple of names that's floated around. They come, they do surface from time to time. We got Representative Congressman Annie Custer. She's a U.S. House member with some pretty decent statewide recognition, some pretty good statewide chops. We got Chris Pappas, another guy who's pretty well known in the area. I think he's been in politics quite a while. He's another potential contender from the House that could potentially make the jump to the Senate and throw his hat in the ring and hopefully keep if you're a Democrat, hopefully keep the Senate seat in the Democrat column. There has been some speculation that he really is considering running now that she stepped out. So if we look at Politico, he is considering this run and replacing Shaheen as she steps away and enjoys her retirement. So we'll see who steps up for the challenge. It may be all of them. They may just go have a battle out in the primaries to take this seat, or somebody may tip their hat to the other and say good luck. We will see. But with New Hampshire, sort of they're not quite the swing state people make it out to be. The margins do bend. We've seen that from 2024. From 2020 and then 2016, the margins do bend, but it has been a pretty reliable Democrat state in the last 20 years, the last election cycles. So what happens next? We don't know. We'll be watching closely for Chris Sununu's decision, though. If he runs, Republicans have a real shot at flipping this seat and expanding their Senate majority, regardless of how Georgia votes or regardless how Michigan votes. This adds them another potential state in their column. If they win North Carolina and they win Michigan and they hold North Carolina and they hold Maine and maybe they win Georgia as well, this would be a nightmare scenario for Democrats. Even if the Democrats come away and maybe hold on to Michigan and keep it in a squeaker, but they end up losing Georgia and maybe the Democrats win North Carolina. I mean that is a potential. That is a potential opportunity for Democrats in North Carolina. You have Tom Tillis, who's probably going to face a primary challenge. He's a little bit underwhelming when it comes to GOP approval. And then you have Cooper on the Democrat side, who I think he has more popularity and more approval in the state as governor versus Tillis as senator. But let's just say that the Democrats hold on to North Carolina. And they even hold on to Michigan, but Republicans walk away with Georgia and New Hampshire. That's 2 seats. That's 2 seats that they will pick up on top of their majority. So it's almost a trade-off. They'll come out with 53, 54 seats. So no matter how you look at this, the Republicans are going to come out of this on election night with the majority in the Senate. But if Sununu doesn't run, the GOP will have to find another strong contender. and Democrats are going to fight hard to keep New Hampshire in their column. I think without Sununu on the Republican ballot, it's probably going to go back to lean Democrat. It just seems to be that's the way it's going to fall. But Sununu is a game changer. He's a well-known commodity in that state, well-liked, well-respected. He has a machine. I think a lot of people would probably elect him. Certainly, independents, even some Democrats would probably vote for him. I'm not saying that governors and Senate race behave exactly the same. They don't. There's a lot of evidence says that's not how it acts. I mean, you just look at a state from Louisiana. They will elect a Republican or Democrat governor from time to time, but most of their senators and congressmen, it's a Republican state. It could be the same thing with New Hampshire as well. We'll see, but his recent polling showed Sununu's doing really well in that poll, and it looks like the voters would back him if he wanted to jump in this and attempt a Senate run and represent New Hampshire in the Senate. But one thing's for sure, Shaheen's retirement has turned this race into a top-tier battleground. It's right next to Michigan and right next to North Carolina is some really close watch states. All eyes are going to be on it. There's going to be a ton of money pumped into 2026 Senate races. This just adds another wrinkle, another element, and a little more excitement for folks like us and folks like me that track this and want to monitor it. Certainly when we get ready to start polling the Senate races, we'll be on that as well. I want to hear from you. Will Chris Sununu run? Can Democrats hold this seat? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the updates that we produce. We like the interaction here. Like and subscribing helps the channel grow. We like to produce this content such as this. But until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.